All right, so if you're somebody that gets triggered by people customizing and chopping up, making cool guns out of old guns that are a dime a dozen, they're not collector's pieces or whatever, this is not going to be the video for you. Go ahead and turn it off. For the rest of you that think it's cool to see old guns turned into custom guns and stuff like that, let the butchering begin. This is the Remington 11 tube on the back half. This is actually a Remington 870 tube that I had. Measured it, they're both the same diameter around. This gives me the length I need. I brazed them together because I tried to TIG weld them, and I can't TIG weld this real thin tubing like this. I just kept burning through it. So I ended up brazing it. I did a little video showing how I took a piece of steel, turned it down on a lathe so it fit in here. I used it as a heat sink because this thin tubing heated up hot enough for the brazing to work, and I didn't have to worry about the brazing sticking to that solid piece because it never got hot enough for the brazing to stick. Then I popped that piece out. I did have to go in here with a file and clean the brazing where it went through, out, and then I used a brake hone to hone it and got it so the magazine follower and the spring and that worked good. I had some people ask if that brazing was gonna, if the barrel was gonna be able to slide over top of that brazing. And right there you can see it slides right over top of it. When the gun's running, it sits about there, and then it goes back like this. So that brazing's not going to affect it. Even though there's a slight bit of drag on it, it's not going to affect it because it won't be riding on that. Also, these parts here drop right over top of it. So even this part right here, which is like the brake for it to slow it down when it's running, slides right over top of it. So there won't be any problem putting this all back together when it's time. The only thing holding me up now is I need another handguard like this in order to make the full-length handguard that's going to run all the way up. There's a channel called Maximus Overhead. He did one of these. I think I'm going to... I really like the guy's videos. He built a Rhodesian A5. He TIG welded his tube together. Like I said, I tried. I couldn't pull it off. But he did it. I brazed mine. He did a duffel. He did a duffel cut on this to put two of them together. And I really like what he did. I thought it turned out really well. So, thankfully, I think he's got the best video out there on the Rhodesian A5. He showed a lot of what he did and how he did it to build it. So I'm going to use his idea for the duffel cut, I think. And he showed in the video where he made mistakes. Hopefully I won't make the same mistakes. But I'm going to go that route to put the two together. So other than the handguard, I'm getting real close to being able to finish this. What I did to get this tube out is I took I think it was a 2x4 oak. It was a piece of a pallet, the bottom leg of the pallet, and I cut it off about that long. Took this 1-inch bit, drilled a hole all the way through it, then split it, cut it down the center of the hole with a skill saw. Then when I put 2 halves over this, I can clamp it into a vise or whatever, and it holds that tube solid. That's how I was able to hold this and get the frame and get it out of the frame, and how I'm gonna put it back together. And I will, when I get ready to put it back together, I will show the block I made for doing that. Other than that, I have, because this tube is actually a Remington 870 tube. I was going to try a few years back to basically do the same thing I did here, but I was going to do it to a Remington 870 and make it from a 5-shot to a 7-shot. And then I found it was just easier to buy a magazine tube extension. And seeing as how I wasn't extending the forearm or nothing, I didn't really care. So I have the magazine cap. I have a magazine tube spring. I don't know if it's going to be long enough or not, the spring, but if not, I'll have to get one. But I think I have everything I need, except for another forearm, to complete this project. And then I've got a pretty good sized chunk of walnut that I may go ahead and just try and make the extension piece myself out of walnut. Don't know for sure. If not, later on down the road, when I get some extra money, I'll have to buy a 4-ended graft like he did if I don't make one. But some of you guys have been asking about that. You know, when you seen the video where I brazed it, you were wondering if it was going to interfere with being able to get the barrel over it. And like I said, it doesn't interfere at all. So, you know, it's it shouldn't be a problem. I think the brazing is going to be more than strong enough to hold that together. I mean, you look at how thin this is and how small the threads are, and they stay in the receiver. You look at how thin that is. The threads are cut halfway through it, and the cap stays on, it doesn't break. So I think the brazing will be fine. You see it there where I brazed it all the way around. But that's where I'm at on the project. Like I said, Remington Auto 8, Rhodesian Browning A5, whatever you want to call it. It's getting there. It's getting close to being done. And like I said, for the people that get offended, butt hurt, whatever, when people customize guns, don't watch these videos. For the people who want to call me the gun butcher, hey, whatever. I'm gonna call this. Decide to call this whole series, and when I get done with all the video, I'll put it all together, and it'll be titled "The Gun Butcher." But that's where I'm at with it. If you got any questions, let me know. If you haven't checked out, if you're really into them Rhodesian A5s like I am, or Remington Auto 8 is Ian called his from Forgotten Weapons, go check out Maximus Overhead. He's got a really cool video on his build. Like I said, I don't want to call him a kid. I mean, he's definitely a young man. I don't know how old he is, but he's pretty talented. He did a really good job on it. I was really impressed. So, hope everybody had a good day. And as I get more progress, I'll do another video.